of course, going to be in the home contenders green, and Snakes going to be banded with the white.
Looks pretty actually.
Rather.
Pretty damn pretty. I really like the contenders,
Nice
this new
words.
contenders color. Pretty damn pretty. What, just like hashtag win-win?
Oh,
It's a
it's
win-win
so
for them
good.
too. I know, it's so brilliant, isn't it? Snakes on the white side, like you just said, and Windstrike are over on the green. And we are seeing a lot more Sombra nowadays, and Sombra's pretty good on this map too. There are a lot of health packs that you can actually hack here as well, a lot of denial. Also, Windstrike, a team that we've seen a lot of adaptation from over the last season.
But speaking of adaptations, Snakes are going to be coming out on something that's been quite similar to them reasonably recently. Christopher and Zapray on those dive heroes. For Winston and the Tracer, they've been the bread and butter of a lot of Snakes attacks thus far, especially on places like Volskaya.
Wow, Asking already taking out Kenzie with a headshot with that storm bow. However, now Snakes now moving on to the point. They do have to be careful of Unfixed here. Yes, he has been spotted out, does use that Translocator to get away. Remember, Translocator now has only 5 HP. It can be destroyed, but Sombra is infinitely invisible. You can see right there, just did destroy it to make sure she has no escape. They're going to jump onto the point once again, but Shaq taking out Cave is going to land his team in a bit of a hot bother, but the problem is the rest of Windstrike are going to go down. Christopher Kodak, they're picking up themselves a couple of kills each.
Zapray did a great job there of hunting down Main, getting him incredibly low after he saw that fade being used. When he blinked in, gave him a quick conk on the head with the pistol, the melee took him down, and then Windstrike were without healing. Xiao and Charek, they just became huge ult banks there for Snakes, and you can see that Asking has almost got their Dragon Strike ready already, and Zapray almost with a Possum as well, and he can put that onto an unsuspecting target like Eng. Unfixed can try and move away with that brief invincibility frame during the Translocators to save himself if it's necessary.
Well, they're going to move it on to the point. You can see how far Christopher's holding up here. Wants to be able to protect the health pack from getting hacked. He's doing a good job of it, but the rest of Windstrike are there. Diving onto the back line. Already a fade coming out through the Moira. Eng is going to go down to Asking again, but Xiao is going to return him with the favor. Unfixed moving on, 55% onto that EMP, and is just going to farm it right now. That's what they want. They know it's a game-winning ability and a map-winning ability potentially too. It's going to go down rather quickly. Didn't throw the Translocator out to get him to safety. Windstrike still building up an impressive amount of ultimates though.
And Main there fell the second that uses Coalescence. Once again, Snakes always pressure him out. They make sure that fade is used. Then they go for a full 2-man dive with the Winston and the Tracer onto Main. He can't survive for long because, of course, Eng fell down early as well thanks to a headshot from Asking. And Snakes barely had to use anything there. The Dragon Strike still ready, and Cave almost with a Valkyrie as well.
Nothing ready to combo with it. Zapray is in the back
There
line
is
trying
again.
to force Meng out once more. He's going to get healed up, and he has D.Va with the defense matrix there to protect him from that small arms fire from Zapray. Zapray is extremely low going in, 85 HP,
Oh, no,
not where you want to
Zapray!
be, and he dashed straight into the well. Self-destruct is going to get launched up into the air, doesn't quite find anything, but Asking finally unleashing the bow. He's going to find one on Unfixed, but it's going to get stuck by Kenseed finally. But the problem is, Asking already taken out 3 members, 2 with the normal arrows, and then 1 with the Dragon Strike. Should net them the fight here. However, Christopher taking a fair bit of damage. It's going to be forced to use that Primal Rage. 90% now on the clock for Snakes. They're going to need to take control of the point. Hack comes through onto Christopher, but he's got a lot of HP to actually work with.
Zapray's redrawing the fight. He's got a pulse on in his back pocket, so now Snakes can try and make the counter-attack as Christopher's used his Primal Rage and overtime has been engaged.
Christopher playing ready defensively. Unfixed does manage to EMP 3 people away, but Kodak was around the wall. Shields didn't disappear, meaning he's then going to help him to keep himself alive. Transcendence now to push his team forward onto that point. Asking's got another Dragon Strike, sends it through the wall straight towards that coalescing Moira. Thing is, she's rather maneuverable in there.
Maneuverable.
Rather maneuverable when she is using that ability, so she is going to be able to escape with her life and actually find 2 kills for it also. Mete does get demeched and pushed off the edge. Windstrike finally capped the point, but 99% to Snakes.
That was the greatest possible win there for Windstrike, though, because both Cave and Kodak used their support ultimates for Valkyrie, and the Transcendence not really netting them very much. Unfixed is going to move over now. No longer wants to be on the Sombra. Instead, he wants to be on the Hanzo, delivering the same burst damage that Asking has been putting in again and again. Zapray's had enough of playing the time demon instead. The shield main's out of the field. Brigitte is there.
Oh, that pulse one thrown out by Kenzie got eaten, so no big bang for him. It's going to find a lot of damage on Zapray, but the problem is with Zapray on this Brigitte, he's got a lot of easy ways to dodge around this team and actually protect the rest of them from Kenzie himself. He's going to find himself on the back line, but with an orb on the Mercy, she is going to be kept alive by the Zenyatta for now. Kenzie having a very hard time of actually getting in, and even a harder time now as he ends up going down to Kodak. Zapray now pushing forwards, and Snakes up a man in this fight are going to be able to turn it around.
There's a flip, and in comes a self-destruct, but I don't think it's going to gain much. Just a remake and there's for counter.
The beat coming through from Windstrike as well, and the self-destruct from Mete is going to find Sharek. There's the Transcendence, actually. Those dragons send straight into it, so no one was actually going to die from that. Snake's now moving forwards with the dragons of their own. Asking has just been on fire this match. 3 ults to unfix, 1 EMP. That's so crazy. Now Christopher picking up 2 kills. The time is all but there, all but gone now. Windstrike, they end up getting wind struck as Snakes do find the first map, and it will be well.
A quick punch to the gut and they will find themselves winded as well. And we will move on to our next stage of Ilios. And Snakes, they're of course 1 stage away from claiming our first map here in this playoff and, well, potentially having a fantastic upset on their hands. We'll have to see as we do move on to Ruins. This has classically been the territory of Widowmaker, Jaws.
It has, and Asking's hovering it. There's no way he's not going to run out the gate with this one, but he's got to field Kenzie now. Kenzie is a formidable Widow himself, and I want to see how Windstrike are going to play this. Are they just going to pressure Asking out like a lot of these teams have been doing, or are they just going to focus on the front line? And again, the problem lies here. Do you focus the Widow or do you focus the front line? Because if you don't focus that Widow, Asking is going to click some heads.
Well, differences in composition here will be the main healer. It's going to be Moira versus main on that Zenyatta, so a lot more damage is going to be coming out of Windstrike, especially with that double DPS going up against the greater healing and sustainability of Snake. So I want to rely exclusively on Asking to bring out that damage. Zapra's taken a shot already, but it's going to be quickly healed up because that's what Kodak gives you with that Biotic Grasp. Some great cone of effect healing.
Oh, look at that charge coming through from Snakes. There's not really much Windstrike can do here. They're going to have to rely a lot on those AoE heals coming from Unfix and Eng. I say that, and actually Kodak is going to go down. So main heal now down for Snakes, and Cave is going to have to escort the rest of his team away. But Sharek and Eng making a quick work of the front line. Even Chow getting his name on the kill feed as well. Asking is going to fall, and that'll be Snakes pushing forward once more. Windstrike, they've built up almost a Infocytes there, 60%, but more importantly, actually, they've got that sound barrier at 80.
Oh, Chow's gone very low, and Meta is going to pick him up with a Bunny Blaster, but he will be finished off there by Eng. And now, Windstrike have to worry about the pressure on the point coming through from Snakes. Christopher's there almost with a Primal Rage.
Winston is going to be able to get onto the point rather readily, and he's going to be able to stall for a lot of time. Remember, they are still in control. Asking is going to find the nice shot onto Eng, and another headshot onto the enemy Widow, but Main was there to actually finish him up with a right click of his own. He's going to get jumped on by Christopher. He's in a lot of trouble. Hot bother for the Omnic Master. But the problem is, with Christopher with that Primal Rage, he's going to have to survive a little bit longer here. 31% still build up for Windstrike. Now just cleaning up the rest of the members of Windstrike now, and Snakes do manage to reclaim Christopher and Zapre. They've almost got their ults online, almost a full 6 stack here. Asking just trailing behind ever so slightly. Yeah,
very little was expended there by either side. The only ultimate used in that fight, of course, was the Primal Rage from Sharek. So now it's going to be potentially a clash of ultimates here in the next fight, and Snakes are more than ready to bring this out. Zapre's used that rally. It's now going to be answered by Unfix. So everyone's going to be incredibly hardy in the face of danger. Moving into this next fight as Snakes begin to accrue more percentage.
4 support ults now on the board, and Main does manage to get his online. There's the first one in Coalescence. Coalescence going to send it out, but Christopher's already going to go down. Zapre is going to be able to force out that Transcendence fairly early from Windstrike, so that's going to be one down for them as well. EMP from Chow, remember, he's still got that available. Kenzie's going to find the head of Asking too. They're going to push forward with that sound barrier, and Cave is going to pay the price as Kenzie is just completely untouched right now. He's already taken 2 lives, and no one is able to actually get to him. You got to remember, Christopher and Mete, they're the only members really that can contest with him on that high ground if Asking goes down.
And Zapre went in very deep there, trying to make sure that Main couldn't pop that Transcendence when he wanted to, and eventually Main did have to pop it to make sure that he could survive the self-destruct that was being forwarded by Mete. But there was great control from both Eng and from Unfix to really control the positioning of Zapre using those knockbacks and those stuns. That meant that he was quickly beaten down by Windstrike when they rounded upon him. And Asking here, he's having trouble with the duel, but this time he's got the advantage of having those Infocytes. You can see he's staring down Kenzie through that wall. Misses a first shot, but he's got to worry. Windstrike, they've put Snakes on the clock now, 64% and counting.
They've only got 47 in the bank themselves. Now Asking has a good position here to actually protect everybody on this point. There's the EMP from Chow, finally gets it out, but a sound barrier is going to be an answer here. Didn't actually catch the Lucio and aren't able to erase that sound barrier with the EMP itself. Using that, Christopher's going to find himself 2 kills. Aim gets a little bit of comeuppance there, but the rest of Snakes are moving themselves onto the point, and now Asking is protected. Up on this high ground, exactly where he wants to be. Snakes are going to be able to reclaim control here, but 90% almost is in the bank for Windstrike.
So that was a pretty clean fight until Kodak used that Coalescence as he died. So not only did he waste that ultimate, Jaws, he also didn't get anything out of it at all. He couldn't even heal his team back up. So he's going to take a while to get back now. And when you're moving down those long corridors, you've got to worry about Kenzie and his long sight lines as well. And of course, the rally has now been used by Unfixable Windstriker coming in with a huge amount of armor. That's going to mean Christopher's going to have trouble doing that damage. Cave's already down and Asking is incredibly low.
Kenzie is already going to claim the first life. The Transcendence coming through from Windstrike. So they're going to be all very healthy, moving on and making sure they can suppress Asking. That's the one target that we did say at the start of the game they needed to actually suppress, and they're doing a good job of it. Shark is going to help capture the point, now 90% on the board for Windstrike. Meta is going to take a very late reset here. They're going to have to be fast. They're up against the clock now.
Asking is falling incredibly low, and Chao's going to pick him off as he goes. It's going to be a mad dash from Cave to try and get onto a point, but he can't quite get there. Unfixed, putting him down via whip shot.
Oh no, Chao had one EMP as well in that entirety of that game, and I gotta say, he used it perfectly, but we're not waiting for the sound barrier to come out. It was rather disastrous, but they were able to set up Kenzie for the majority of that fight, and Asking was having trouble in that duel, like we said.
Not only that, Christopher was rounded upon when he went to try and contest Kenzie in the backline. He had his Primal Rage, I think of it, maybe they could use that to try and trigger overtime, but he died while hacked to the SMG of Widow, meaning that at that point, Chao wasn't too worried about going in and trying to build up a new EMP. It was just like, okay, Kenzie's going to shoot people in the head. I just need to make sure he doesn't die. And Hacking Christopher achieved exactly that. So we're going to move on to our last stage, Jaws. It's going to be the Lighthouse, and it looks like a pretty tank-heavy comp coming out of Windstrike alongside a Sombra.
All right, pretty nice. Kenzie now on the Hog. Okay, he's good Widow, he's got good aim. Those hooks will be flying, hopefully, towards the squishy members of Snakes. And look at their comp now. They've gone with Zapare, they've actually put him on the Pharah. Normally, Sombra pretty good at that. And in fact, Unfixed decides he doesn't want to mess with it. He's actually going to go onto this Tracer. And in fact, a full swap up here from Windstrike are going to give up a little bit of room here. Snakes are going to be able to move the point pretty quickly.
Zapare saw the Widowmaker was coming out. He's flying back to change over, I imagine, probably to a Tracer or a Sombra here. But we'll have to find out because, of course, no one's yet gone to cap the point. Everyone's being a little bit sheepish with their positioning, and Windstrike are going to force this out. Someone's on the point beginning to start to capture it. And
Zapare's actually decided to stick on this Pharah. Okay, a very early D-Mech it seems, although not quite, sorry. It did actually get a little bit of health in the end, but Asking claiming the first kill onto Shark. Nice kill from Kenzie there. Is going to grapple himself over towards that point and take a leisurely stroll near this swimming pool sauna kind of dealio. And now Unfixed taking out Kodak. They are actually going to be able to reclaim the point here, it seems, from Snakes. 15%, and Windstrike just weren't there at all. Kenzie was doing a good job of picking people off on the sidelines, but they gave up so much space to Snakes. They were able to just man-mode this point and recap it.
Well, they did give Snakes for space, but Snakes also allowed Windstrike to capture this for free at the beginning of that when Windstrike backed off for a long time until the point was open, and Snakes had the positioning advantage. Still, they were beaten to the punch when it came to capping out that point, but didn't even contest it. Now Zapare probably throwing himself off the edge. He has had enough of Kenzie. Will he be swapping? There it is. The Tracer coming in is going to be in over the back line, and Kenzie's found himself a sight line here. Question is, can he pick anyone off? Seems like the answer is going to be no.
Almost killed Cave. It was only a body shot, though. Unfixed has got that pulse bomb, too. There's the Dragons coming out. There's a very, very risky res on the point. He's actually going to pay for it. Chao is going to actually take him out, but he does get the resurrection on Christopher, so another tanky member on the point. A nice D-Mech coming through as well onto Mete. Leaves Chao with a nice kill on the kill feed, plus some extra ult charge. Speaking of ult charge, that's self-destruct to dissuade the rest of Snakes. Headshot from Kenzie onto the Winston. Christopher isn't long for this world, ends up going down to Shark. A quick reclaim here by Windstrike, and they're building up some ult percent now.
They do have the infrasights active, and they're going to have just turned off now, so Kenzie can begin to start getting that ultimate percentage back. Christopher has that Primal Rage ready to go, and Kodak can try and match it with a Transcendence. Himself and Main both have that ultimate active, and Asking is already lost out of a sniper duel. Kenzie's going to send him pretty quickly back to spawn before Cave tugs on his leash and brings him on back.
Now, who's actually going to contend with Kenzie here? That's the question. Because Christopher and Mete can do. They have to commit so many resources to actually do that. And Kenzie can just do this. Use the grapple hook onto the other side of the map, and he's almost completely safe. In fact, hang on a second, though, because Christopher has got his number and is going to be able to chase him down. No support help coming through for Kenzie, which means Christopher's going to be able to get on this point for free. Once again, Windstrike backing off fairly far here, and they're actually going to use the forced to use the Transcendence here in the face of danger, as Snakes do unleash theirs as well. Kenzie does get resurrected in the back line, as Meng was able to do that because the healing from the Transcendence was able to keep the rest of the team alive. But Meng is a little bit worse for wear as he ends up going down for Christopher. Christopher is just a nightmare on this map, it seems, right now. He's not letting go of his prey. Windstrike ends up to secure, well, losing two there to Christopher. Primal Rage and just all the damage he can possibly muster. Shark finally kills him off with a Primal Rage of his own, but now 90%. Snakes only have one more fight.
Christopher may have been putting up a highlight reel, but so was Chao on the point, just picking off person after person with those fusion cannons. Kodak's maybe emergency swap over to Velucio. Needs for speed, and Zapra is going to get there first. So overtime has been ticked on, but it's going to start burning down.
Kodak, the speed demon's going extremely low. We can see now they are able to touch the point. Christopher's on there. Doesn't have Primal Rage just yet, only 20%, but he might not need it as he does end up killing Sharek. Kenzie's still free-firing in the back line, but this is a bit of an awkward angle for the Widowmaker. I say that, and he actually takes out Zapre mid-dash. Asking is going to be able to take out Unfix, but look who's actually on the point right now. They've still got that Mercy and are still able to keep Chow alive, who's the most important member in this comp. He does have that self-destruct available, so he's going to unleash that, no problem. Kodak finds the boot onto Chow over the edge, so he's not actually able to remech here. Unfix is going one-to-one with Mete, but they're healing from the Lucio, stopping a lot of that damage going through. Finally, they find the D-Meg with the help of the Winston, but Unfix doing a good job of staying alive. Does stick Christopher also, still doesn't have that Primal Rage, and he ends up going down to main. Windstrike pushing forward here. They still need to clear the rest of Snakes off the point. Kodak is one speedy boy, and he's almost got that beat as well. But Kenzie, they're all on the board right now. Windstrike end up taking Ilios.
If you can't kill the speedy boy, you just force him off the point. Overtime had been in session for so long, it's just ticked down instantly, and unfortunately that does mean that Snakes have given that one up, and Windstrike go up 1-0 in our quarterfinals.
It did look like they were able to get back on, but overtime does tick fairly quickly when it has been a fair while. Remember those days in solo queue when you step off the point for half a second and then you wonder where the round's gone. It just disappears right in front of your eyes.
It does disappear right in front of your eyes, and so does the control portion. Unless we go to a fifth map, of course. We are next going to be heading over to our hybrid.
Does look like we are. We're going to take a quick break though, guys. We'll be right back with map number 2. Hey guys, welcome back. Map number 2 on your screens very shortly. Windstrike already taken the lead in this series. Snakes falling only to 2-1 though, so it was very close, and we did think that was going to go fairly one way in Windstrike's favor. We thought Kenzie was going to kind of pop off on the Widowmaker, but Asking did put up a hell of a show as well.
Yeah, he did indeed. Unfortunately, he just couldn't make the magic happen enough to really carry him through to the end there. We saw that Main was, towards the end, getting a lot more protection we saw at the beginning of Ilios, where Snakes could really try and take advantage of him having used that fade. When they move in, they take him out when he doesn't have that defensive cooldown. And again, that worked for them. But now, they've chosen their map. Looks like Snakes want to go to Eichenwald. You know what happens on Eichenwald with Snakes?
Don't tell me they're going to do it.
The Mad Boys.
The Mad Lads. Well, they're going to be on an offense first. We'll see what strats they want to pull out. And I want to see the Wrecking Ball. I do. But it's the choice of Windstrike, what they want to want on defense here. And Kenzie's been quite a formidable Widowmaker. He's just a formidable hit scan player altogether. So opting not to go for something like a Pharah on this map, they're actually just going to go for this McCree on the defense. So they are going this 3-2-1 setup. No Hanzo in sight. Oh, no. It's going to be that McCree, and Kenzie's going to be piloting the Cowboy. Now, where do they think they're going to play here? It seems like a very point-orientated composition, especially with Unfix actually on this Brigitte.
Yeah, imagine we'll see Kenzie try and move up through the Hunter's Lodge onto the high ground there so that he can be a little bit safer from tanks such as for Winston, so that they have to invest that leap or that movement cooldown in order to move up to him. And then he can try and move off and rotate around, give him the old do-si-do with Eng and Main at his back. And of course, he can use that flashbang either as an offensive tool or as a defensive one to try and peel for a target like Main, who can get dived upon by various mobile heroes like Zapray on the Traitor.
Well, McCree, normally a very diveable hero, very weak to that sort of thing. He's got 3 supports to back him up with. A whole bunch of armor from Unfix as well. Remember that that armor pack isn't on the longest cooldown in the world, let's be fair. Zapray and Asking on the Tracer and the Hanzo respectively. Zapray already making his way into the point, but the problem is the point of ingress here is going to be fairly hard. He's got 2 people to contend with.
Checking
that
for a
flashbang
Sombra.
and Unfix as well. He is trying to check for a Sombra, doing a little Sombra checking. Can't quite find anything just yet.
Going to press tab and realize what's up in a second. But of course, Sharek is going to have a Zarya at his back here, so he's going to be a little bit more vulnerable. He's already taken 100 damage up. Will have been an arrow from Asking. Uses his Sonic and his Stormbow there, so he knows exactly where everyone is, and that's going to make sure Zapray is well informed.
Wow. All right, Kenzie's already going to go down. You see the slip of the shield there coming through from Sharek. Actually, Nets Asking a kill. He's going to get resurrected, however, but Snake's still on the point. No ticks acquired, no damage acquired at all, but Asking is going to find him once more. Main DPS now down for Windstrike. In fact, owning DPS, and Asking finds 2. Eng is going to fall as well, and Sharek made that a 3-piece. Asking just taking names and numbers and, well, social security numbers as well as he takes out Main. That's a 4-piece for Asking. He's got himself a Dragon Strike, and even Zapray, he's got himself a Pulse Bomb.
Eng there pulling out the get down, Mr. President. Guardian Angeling in front of that arrow and unfortunately taking a little bit too much damage to survive any longer. So Snakes with a pretty swift first attack there, managing to build up some ultimates like you said as well. But Dragon Strike's ready to go and he can potentially use that vertically to try and catch some people off guard. Already Unfix taking a shot here, but he does have a pocket to make sure that he can try and go man to man.
One small change, if you remember, on this patch, you can't damage boost those dragons anymore. So Transcendences can be used rather liberally on those grabs if we were seeing, obviously, the Zarya this match, which we are not. There's a vertical Dragon Strike you were talking about coming through from Asking. Does manage to clear the high ground for a moment. Problem is, not really anything to capitalize on it, as Zapray does end up going down.
Main's going to take his time to get back. He did get pulse bombed by Zapray in the middle of that fight, but still, Unfixed has command of the high ground. Christopher, he's weighing up whether he wants to try and challenge him, and there it is. A quick lunge away will get him out of range of that Tesla coil there.
Yeah, perma pocket right now from Eng. Hasn't quite got enough healing onto Sharek, and he ends up going down. The Storm Arrow is still as deadly as ever. Asking's going to claim yet another life. This guy has gold damage, gold kills. He's got those 4 gold medals we were talking about earlier on. Carrying his team right now through Eichenwald. Meta is going to find 1, and there goes Unfix again. Asking, this guy's an absolute monster, and he's really picking it up. Eichenwald was his map earlier on this week. You got to remember his McCree, his Widowmaker is also good, and Hanzo, he's perfected it as well.
Yeah, the McCree is usually what he brings out on the defense here at this point of Eichenwald, because of course he can control the high ground like we saw Unfixed do previously. Speaking of Unfixed, he's got a Dragon Strike ready to go. Can try and make sure that they can safely move through one of these points or clear off the cart in desperation moments. Here it comes. It doesn't look like it's going to be trying to control that right-hand side.
Through the turret here. Sharek takes a lot of damage. In fact, Christopher is going to shove him off the point. There's the Transcendence coming from Main. Answering one coming through from the side of Snakes as well, so no one going down just yet. Zapray's got another Pulse Bomb, however, and is going to be able to try and find somebody, but it did look like it got completely denied. Asking now in a little bit of trouble, but a permanent pocket coming through from his supports is working out wonders for them. They know exactly where to put their pockets. It's all in Asking's back one. As Kenzie taking out 2 kills, can they hold off? Asking is still alive, however. Got that Sonic Arrow on the rest of the team.
Kenzie gets Skull Kick!
Kenzie gets his head nailed straight into the ground. Oh boy, Asking should definitely become a carpenter after this one, nailing everybody's heads.
Oh, he does have a hammer to nail people's heads, but he's not a Reinhardt. Speaking of Reinhardt, Sharek's going to be moving over from the Winston on to that more reliable shield tank. Charles is going to be joining him. Boots on the ground, Zarya is going to be there with the projected barriers, going to be firing himself up some energy, trying to combine that potentially with a Deadeye or the Dragon Strike.
Asking hiding behind that bookshelf. He's got a whole lot of knowledge in his back pocket. Asking is going to unleash that Dragon Strike and find Chow. Already used that personal bubble, and Sharek's a little bit worse for wear also. Self-destruct's going to get launched in, and the rest of Windstrike is scurrying for the hills. Asking is just taking control of this game. Christopher's even found himself a nice 2-piece there with the Primal Rage. Unfixed is going to go down. Chow now jumping onto the emergency Wrecking Ball. He's ready to roll onto the point. He's going to find a Pulse Bomb landing straight on top of him. Couldn't get that adaptive shield online in time, and Zapray's just going to be able to take take him out.
Christopher there with a Tesla coil, giving a little bit of extra pressure, but it's not going to be enough versus the Transcendence of Main.
Transcendence coming out from Kodak as well, keeping Christopher in the fight. Sharek hasn't got his shield up just yet, wants to be able to farm that charge. Chow's now jumping in. There we go. There's the adaptive shield, but he's already going to go down. Hitbox a little bit too large for the hamster. Asking now, unleashing his second Dragon Strike of this push, is going to find one in Kenzie. And now the staggering of Wind Strike onto this point is just going to get subdued by Zapre. He finds himself 3 kills as he manages to stick Aang on the exit. And now it's Chow getting D-Meg. Kenzie's going to come back in on the Brigitte, but it was all said and done. Snakes find the full cap.
Kill after kill after kill. Zapre and Asking both coming in. Of course, everyone else on the side of Snakes as well, really pulling their weight. We've seen Christopher able to control this territory so well with that Winston, and Mete has gelled with this team so perfectly. He's only a pretty new addition. He's been here for, what, 2 or 3 weeks thus far, having replaced Heiko, who was previously on Snakes. And we saw Mete across contenders for a long time, mostly with Bazooka Puppies. He's a veteran of official tournaments, and you can see how he manages to keep his nerve in these playoff situations.
That's exactly what Snakes need to do now. 3 minutes in the time bank. That's pretty impressive on Eichenwalde. And now they get their chance to defend. So now Asking maybe pulls out that McCree. He did do a good job last time around. We saw him last week. In fact, hold so far forward and was rolling fairly aggressively. He doesn't have an S key. He only presses W as that McCree. But there's now Wind Strike's turn to offense as well. So Snakes, what do they do here on the defense? It looks like they're going to roll out with a Doomfist, but they could just throw themselves off the map, of course, to bait Wind Strike into something.
Yeah, go and explore the moat. Instead, Zapro's just going to have mercy on Doomfist and instead move over to the Pharah, which we've talked about extensively on this first point of Eichenwalde defense because of the central clock tower, which you can see around the top middle of your screen right now. You can use that for some great cover from the incoming hit scans. But what you got to worry about with the Sombra when you happen to be playing Pharah is that now Sombra, since a couple of months ago, she had a buff to her hack where it disables passive abilities as well, like your jump jets, which means if you get hacked, you're going to fall out the air like a stone, and you're incredibly vulnerable on the floor because Pharah's got a pretty forgiving hitbox.
Yeah, we've all seen the highlight clips of the Sombras getting a double hack off in the air, or almost a double hack, the EMP, the Mercy, and the Pharah as well. They just fall straight down into the abyss and end up going down. And I want to see Unfix run this, honestly. It would be fairly interesting. You can deny a lot of health packs. Remember, infinite invisibility as well from her can be quite sneaky.
Yeah, if you're going for a hack here as well, you could try and hack someone like Christopher and then have Kenzie go for the hook onto that large target, because of course he wouldn't be able to jump away afterwards. Just be pretty much a free kill for the side of Windstrike if they could pull that off. They're going to move together though, going to go through the sideway. They know Zapre is now out there on the Pharah, and Zapre knows his main thing he has to worry about is for Sombra. Unfix currently going to be getting a lot of damage onto Christopher, who's already gone down. Yeah,
Christopher, that's exactly what you said. You want that hack going down straight onto him, and 60 rounds in the mag of Sombra's SMG as well, and that's a whole lot of damage. Hang on a second, Cave was actually in the Monk's Wind Strike. Maybe so. I don't know exactly what was happening there, but the Pharah is going to get taken out of the air as well. Very speedy cap here from Wind Strike. Already going to eliminate the team. They built themselves up only one ultimate in that fight, but look, 56% now on that EMP. It's going to be also important coming into this castle stage.
I imagine Cave there was trying to get a resurrection on Christopher, but when you want to do that kind of resurrection in the midst of 6 people, you need distract, you need Mete, and then you need Zapre diving forward. Everyone on the side of Snakes was retreating against the oncoming tide of Windstrike. Asking is going to be sticking on that hand zone. And McCree today for him, and Zapre's got control of the air, raining down death from above. He has built himself up towards a barrage, but that can also be cancelled by the hack, as we talked about before, or a hook from Kenzie. Going to quickly know out of that one.
Absolutely not. I mean, Chow could defense matrix straight into a hack, seems like the best way of doing it. Remember, any damage does interrupt the hack, so she is very vulnerable when that does come out. There's the Coalescence. Christopher very vulnerable as well, as he does jump straight into Sharek. Met with a Coalescence and a swift hammering to the dome. Zapre's backing off rather readily here. You can see him just pummeling the shield to make sure Sharek is getting punished for every step he does take in the forward direction. But Snakes now, they are giving up a lot of room on this car.
Kenzie going off on a solo mission. There's going to be a hack there onto Zapre. Unfix doesn't quite yet have the MP, but he can re-hack him in just a second if that passive charge does give him that particular ultimate. Out comes a Dragon Strike from Asking though, but it looks like it's straight into the ground. Yeah, straight into the ground, and there's the EMP in the skies. The Pharah does end up dropping to the floor. Hang on a second though, Asking not quite farewell as the Pharah was. Does end up getting That's a
Couple of
very
kills.
late Transcendence.
Very easy. Very late trans, yeah, as well. Asking what's hacked, but hey, you don't need it. You don't need all your abilities with your hands, though, realistically. Who needs a Sonic Arrow or Storm Arrows when you're asking? You just need a couple of left clicks.
Kenzy's changing his methodology for getting those picks. He's already putting Asking on notice there, moved over to the Widowmaker. No more sneaky hacks, and so it's going to be headshots coming through. Credit's going to have to build up towards that Transcendence once more, but of course, he doesn't have to worry about getting EMP'd for a while either, because Unfix has just used that. Now we see Windstrike moving together behind that shield of Sharek. They want to make sure they can capitalize on that Earth Shatter.
They're breaking it down. And that is Sharek using that Shatter as well. I'm not entirely sure where that went. Christopher maybe even blocked it with a bubble there. Asking using the very defensive ultimate in the Dragons, just clearing everybody off the high ground. Kenzy's already taken out Cave, however. And look how far Windstrike are actually pushing the cart here. They're able to just push this because they've got no main healer on the side of Snakes right now. Mete is dueling with everybody onto the cart, and Christopher finds another kill, using that reset of the leap after he killed Kenzy in that Primal Rage. Only 10 HP, mind you, and Cave comes in with the nick of time in order to actually save him. Main's going to unleash his own Coalescence and actually take out Mete here, but Chao is going to finish the Baby Diva off, so no secondary tank here for the side of Snakes. They're going to have to be very careful. Windstrike's still pushing.
Damage sustained here does mean that Cave can quickly build up towards that Valkyrie, and Kodak almost has for Transcendence as well. Down goes Cave, so it won't be available, but Zapre has a pulse bomb if he wants to try and clutch this out. He's coming in from the back now. He's got his eyes on Moira. She's dropped it on Eng.
Oh, Kodak as well had the Transcendence, but got taken out before he could use it. Asking now, finally building himself up towards that Dragon Strike, but was just buying for time in the end of it. But now look, Unfix has an EMP to use also.
Oh, that was
They're
blown
going to
up
be able
the
to back off
it.
here. But yes, I believe it was.
Someone managed to catch it in midair. Some good accuracy there, potentially from Asking or Zapre. And now potentially going to be hunted down. Isn't going to have that Translocator available just yet. And we are going to have a moment of calm here before the storm. Jaws, Windstrike do have that EMP ready to go once again. Kenzy has recently used those Emperor Sights, so they're not going to be available. But Eng almost has that all-important sound barrier.
Oh, sneaky Dragon positioning there coming through from Snakes. Asking is going to be able to push everybody from Windstrike a little bit further back. Christopher doing a lot of damage from that Tesla cannon through the shield. Zapre goes a little bit low and he's going to have to back off to that small health pack. He's going to find a nice flank here, but Unfix is going to find a little bit of a better one. Asking ends up going down as he didn't have any mobility cooldowns left available to him. Remember that leap is disabled and the wall ride is disabled as well. The wall climb even. Meng takes out Christopher. Sharek finding Kodak as well. Another Transcendence unable to be used by Snakes. That is a self-destruct onto the point, and Shao manages to kill off Mete, but he has to deal with Zapre. Is so low, and Cave might just be able to get the resurrection here. Chao so low. Battle Mercy. She's going to be able to get him out of the mech, but Eng is here to the rescue.
Well, Sharek there tried to lay down a solo shatter onto Kodak so that he couldn't use the Transcendence to save that fight. He managed to smack him around a couple of times and get that kill, but unfortunately, you can't really account for Cave with a Vengeance. Coming in with Valkyrie, Caduceus Blaster does not require reloading. You can just put out Blaster Bolt after Blaster Bolt. They do a surprising amount of damage, Jaws.
Windstrike now have 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the time bank. Snakes
even if they cap, they can't get a bigger time bank now.
Well, Snakes now have 2 ultimates, still have that Transcendence. Apparently Kodak never needs to use it, has to use it in the last fleeting moments it seems. Christopher has that Primal Rage also, and Zapre doing a good job of building up towards that Pulse Bomb. Now Christopher once again playing extremely aggressively. Is going to unleash the Primal Rage and actually push Cave back. Cave was forced right into the enemy team, but he is going to get punished for it as well. Unfix is going to be able to find the kill, and Asking actually takes out Meng with a Storm Arrow. Win streak, win streak. They could be on a win streak, but Windstrike now moving still forwards, and Unfix just alone onto the top of the barrage here. Almost gets stuck, but doesn't quite get it. Kenzy once more taking out Cave. Can they actually push forward for the win here?
Mostly through the bridge there. No one going to be getting damage from that, but they have been put onto different sides of a map, Jaws. People have been isolated. Zapre's looking for them.
Finally, Sharek takes out Mete after the D-Mech did come through after that self-destruct. Windstrike still have a potential here to get stopped. Snakes now moving in. Christopher is going to use the leap on top of it and the bubble as well to make sure he's well defended, but a Discord Orb on top of him isn't going to leave him in too nice of a situation. Asking's going to be able to get on the cart and actually stall this out. It's a couple of meters from going down. Finally, a Transcendence comes through, and Asking actually throws that Dragon Strike the wrong way, but into a Transcendence wouldn't have done all to anything either. Unfix finds 2 kills, and Mete goes down as well. D-Mech didn't quite come through, and they get 1 minute and 30 now to work with inside the cart.
That was so close. They actually managed to get to the meterage, but didn't secure the point until the end there. Kenzy moving over to the McCree, and Zapre is going to have a little bit of a change up himself. Doesn't want to go man-to-man against that McCree with the Tracer. Instead, he's bringing out the Junkrat, bringing in those long-range damage bombs, and going to try and build up towards that Riptide. But of course, Riptide's going to be incredibly vulnerable to the type of DPS that Windstrike have that can very easily take it out of the air. And now Sharek, he's been found out on his own. There is vision on him, but into the back comes the self-destruct. Can they evade? Yes, they can.
Self-destruct and the Dragons as well, trying to corral them into one or the other. And no one dies from Snakes here, so two big ultimates now used from Windstrike. Kenzie's low, Eng's low, Sharek's pretty low too. And Asking just free-firing from the back here. Unfix is going to take out the front line, and Christopher, though, as he did jump over to that Reinhardt, he sends a Hail Mary arrow. It is going to be able to kill Unfix, but still, Windstrike with the superior numbers. Asking is going to use that Sonic arrow around the reveal everybody's location. Still has that ultimate on board, and Kodak with that Transcendence, vital for this point.
You can shepherd everybody with the Dragon Strike, and then Zapray has the Riptide ready as well, providing it doesn't get taken out early by Main, who's trying to desperately build up towards that Transcendence. Eng's in the air with the Valkyrie, is going to be a main target here, but it's been taken down by Chow.
Nice, Chow taken out with those micro missiles. Kenzie having a 1v1 duel with the Hanzo, and Asking says, not today, nice flashbang. Maybe it is high noon after all. He's going to get onto that high ground. Those Junkrat bombs raining death from above as well. Eng looking to go Battle Mercy also. Overtime is going to be in session, but Christopher and Zapray are going to go down. Windstrike now cleaning up. Unfix being the main contributor to those team kills. Self-destruct on the point just for the victory explosion. Windstrike still get a little bit of time to work with.
Well, we call it a victory explosion, but it's more like a draw explosion at the moment, Jaws, because, of course, no time is available for Windstrike. They utilized everything that they had, and 3 minutes and 3 seconds still remain here for the side of Snakes. So Windstrike, the best they can hope for from Eichenwald is the draw.
Impressive time bank from Snakes. Can they tie the series up? That is the question. They looked formidable on the offense. Asking was just taking name and number. There was how many kills in the first few minutes?
Four or five.
Four or five from him. So sticking on the Hanzo wouldn't be such a bad option. Windstrike changing their strategy up though a little bit. They're going for the 3-3 on the defense.
The old classic 3-3. It's been a little bit of a mixed bucket for CIS Hope, and now Windstrike during the group stage wasn't quite as dominant as we expected in their first weeks. Towards the latter half, they fell off a little bit, but now, of course, they've had a week to try and prepare for what they knew they were going up against, which in this case was, of course, Snakes. And Snakes, their dives have been pretty good thus far. We're just got to make sure that Christopher isn't singled out and taken down, because that's exactly what happened on their point A defense. Singled out with the hack coming through from the Sombra and then quickly rounded upon by the members of Windstrike. So this time he may be a little bit more careful as to where he's going to position himself, or at least make sure Mete is a bit closer.
They want to aim for Eng, they want to aim for Main. They have to force out that shift like we were talking about in the in Ilios. Does it love they're going for a very early push here, Windstrike, holding really far forward.
Got their sneaky beaver shoes on right now, or sneaky bear shoes, as some might say. Zapray is going to go out for a bit of a scout, and he's probably going to spot them out here. The Sonic arrows just missed, and now Zapray has spotted them out, so he's going to tell everyone where they are, and I think Windstrike know that the jig is up. They have been discovered, and they're going to be moving elsewhere, moving onto a point so that they can continue to move as this unit that's well protected. And Zapray no longer wants to be on the Sombra. He's done his scouting, and now he's going to be up in the air with the Pharah, quickly building up towards that barrage.
Yeah, very intelligent Snakes using that for Sombra to scout. Didn't go too far forward. Now they have the aerial superiority in Zapray. He's going to push, you can see there, straight away. Sharek gets booped into the rest of Snakes. Not too much damage coming through. Remember, 3 healers for Windstrike, so all that damage is going to be converted rather swiftly into ultimate charge for the supports. But Sharek going down, and the shield a bit even is going to fall very low. Zapray getting permanently damage boost here. Is a lot to actually contend with. Asking how to contend with Kenzie there and came off worse for wear. Christopher taking out Unfix is going to be pretty big here, and Asking actually getting resurrected. Snakes with a man advantage, and Chow's going extremely low, gets demegged by Zapray. There's an early barrage. Sharek's shields isn't going to last for all too long. Zapray and Asking taking control of this point. Only need a quarter of it, remember, they got 2 minutes left to play with.
Kenzie took out Asking twice, that's definitely his priority, but unfortunately you can't swing that flail upwards. Zapray is going to take you out from above. They only need to count the first tick, Jaws.
Kenzie going down, quickly jumping over to that Lucio. They're only able to jump back onto this point. Chow's on the emergency hamster. Is going to come in with that pile driver, but instant Transcendence coming out from Kodak to keep the rest of his team alive. Sharek is live and well back into this fight, but look, Zapray's already 50% ult charge up to another ultimate, and Asking's got a Dragon Strike of his own. Unfix a little bit in trouble here, and Asking just dissuades the rest of the tanks to look at him. Snakes end up sitting on that point, and they manage to secure the second game.
And they do, bringing us up 1-2-1. No sweeps coming through here in the quarterfinals. Snakes have shown some pretty dominant play on Eichenwald with that 3-minute timing. Didn't even require all of it to get that first tick either, but that does mean that, of course, Windstrike will be able to pick our third map after the half.
We said Zapray and Asking were definitely mean contenders, and they proved it just that in that clip alone. Zapray had almost 2 ults in that fight. You saw Asking just with the game-winning, actually, maybe not so much game-winning, but distracted the tanks enough in order for the rest of his team to just cement themselves on the point. Game aiding, yeah, sure, corralling the rest of the team. We're going to corral over to the desk, though. They're going to break down that game even more.